dressed like this," Penny said. Jenna and Colt McCade had been engaged since last summer, and their spring wedding was right around the corner. Thanks to her friends being disgustingly in love, they'd decided to throw a joint bachelor-bachelorette party at the club, which meant Penny's brother Ryder would be there. But so would Bass, and that made tonight the perfect chance for Penny to make her move. She not only trusted him, they'd been friends for years after all, she knew he was the kind of man that could deliver in the bedroom. Just looking at him was enough to know that. Not to mention the few whispers she'd heard over the years about Bass being some kind of sex god, and that made him perfect for her. Who better to teach her how to be a sex goddess than a god himself? "You might have to help me distract Ryder," she said. "He'll have to get over himself. You're a grown-ass woman. This is your chance," Lily said, cupping Penny's shoulders. Lily's blonde hair was fastened into a tight updo, and the trademark McCade flare was prominent. Time to implement Operation Orgasm. Penny needed some of Lily's confidence. "What if I get shot down?" "If a guy shoots you down, he's a moron," Lily said. "There's going to be a lot of hot guys. One's more than willing to show you a good time. And sex is a good thing. As long as you're comfortable and feel good about it, there's no reason not to go after what you want." Problem was, who she wanted was her brother's best friend, a fact Bass wouldn't overlook lightly. She would have to be persuasive if she was going to get the rigid attorney to bend to her idea. Whatever the end result would be, going for Sebastian tonight was putting the group dynamic in jeopardy. But she had to try. She knew he was attracted to her, at least she thought she knew. Last year they'd played a harmless game of sardines that turned into a few minutes of Sebastian lying against her in the dark and her breathing in his scent. She'd thought for sure he was going to kiss her. He'd been close. She could still feel his breath against her lips when he'd whispered the phrase she'd been repeating in her mind for nearly 9 months. "Don't challenge me. I always get what I want in the end." Usually what he wanted was short-term flings. If gossip was to be believed, those flings were full of the wildest sex a person could imagine. The thought made her tingle all over. She'd caught his attention, got a glimpse at the man he was hiding underneath, and was now determined to experience what lay beneath that domineering persona. "I'm going for it," Penny said. She gave her long red hair a flick and faced her friend. "Time for Operation Orgasm to commence." Bass glanced at the brunette across the room. She'd been checking him out for the past 10 minutes. She was attractive, and that smile she gave was one he recognized, a look that led to the bedroom. "If that woman keeps staring at you like that, her panties are going to catch fire," Huck Galvin said loudly into Sebastian's ear over the booming music of the club. Yeah, that brunette could end his dry spell. She was prime, ready, and most importantly, not Penny Diamond. Get her out of your head. Good fucking luck with that. He'd been trying to get her out of his mind ever since last summer when they'd played sardines. He'd always thought she was too soft for him, but after she'd challenged him to a game where he ended up alone with her, he'd barely been able to resist tasting those lush lips of hers. He could still feel her body humming against his, begging for it. She was everything bright and good. He'd known her a long time, but he'd never met her equal, and he'd looked hard, but no one could compare to the soul-deep genuineness of Penny Diamond. He shook his head and focused on the brunette. That was the kind of surface woman he needed. She looked experienced and able to handle his needs in the bedroom, needs so strong they'd evolved into a dark secret. He loved sex, loved women, but his tastes were not for the timid. They also weren't long-term. He'd learned at a young age that love and companionship